Well, guys, here we are on week 5. We have one more week after this week, so I'm super excited. And we'll start out and just I want to hear from you guys, see how your week has been. Kathy has a big week. Maybe we'll start with you while Anna gets set up. Kathy, tell everyone what you just did starting yesterday.
Well, I started the program yesterday, and yesterday was a hard day. I mean, it definitely was. And I thought that it was going to continue and still be kind of hard, today, but today's been a big improvement.
Wow.
Really happy about that.
Okay, so tell me a little bit of what was your heart like, what was so hard about yesterday?
I woke up with a headache. I didn't go I think what I did on Sunday was I think I ate too much bad stuff because it was like I need to get this in. And the caffeine was good because having been in the coaching call last week, I started to wean off of my caffeine. So I had only had 1 cup of coffee on Sunday. And then, so I did wake up with a headache on Monday, and I kept the headache all day because of no caffeine, I'm sure. And I had that terrible foggy feeling. Uh,
Mm.
it lasted all day, but what a good night's sleep I got last night. Oh my gosh. It was incredible.
Good.
So I've felt good today.
Well, Kathy, I just want to get everyone up to speed, and especially you, Anna. Kathy is so dialed in on her nutrition as is. And so this is she's already been taking baby steps, but I do believe it's what's going to change your process and your results is these little things of your coffee, the caffeine, just kind of really calming inflammation, then introducing foods back in to see what is going on. But normally people usually will have the headaches and that fogginess for about a week, sometimes
Yeah,
a little longer. So one day, I am so proud of you. That's
yeah.
incredible.
Now, yesterday working out was really, really hard.
Ooh, yeah.
Um, and today in my program, it was just foam rolling. So I was like, oh, thank you, God.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, good. Good. So today you're not having so much of the fogginess.
Not as much. It's been a little bit, but not that bad. Thank
Okay. Just 1 second. So this is like true life of me right now. I dropped my kids off at the park where Chanel is supposed to have her practice. And I was like, oh, you guys can all just go early and just hang out at the park for a little while. And then it happens to be my kids are like, hey, it's the wrong park. I'm like, oh shoot.
you.
I mean, this is what the park they said, I think. So just give me a second while I just look at emails real quick. But okay, while I start doing that, Anna, why don't you start talking?
Yeah, so on Monday,
Yeah.
the when I can start introducing foods. And so I'm really excited about that. I haven't quite looked through the process of which food I need to start with first, but I'm
Yeah.
just excited to be able to start introducing foods and see, because something I miss, and especially now with it's gonna be fall soon, is corn. So I'm really hoping that I'll do okay with corn.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see, but I'm excited to just even be able to try it in general. I'm definitely, this week has been probably the easiest week for me. It still definitely had challenges, but I got the hang of it now, and I'm less so I guess I've definitely this week noticed a difference in my joint pain, because I do have autoimmune arthritis, and so I have not been able to exercise, and play with my daughter like I want to. But this week I actually felt like I could. And so I was like, I'll just try it. And I ran a mile and a half to the park and then played with my daughter and then walked back. And I had,
Have a party
I,
right now? That is
yeah,
massive.
it was because I used to run like in middle school and high school. I did cross country and I really liked running. And then, with the autoimmune stuff and the arthritis, I just wasn't able to more without too much joint pain. So, I mean, I'm definitely out of shape, but it felt really good to be able to run without my joints killing me. And like the next day, like I was sore in like a really good way, but not in like a I can't move, my
Joint.
joints hurt so kind of way.
Right.
So I was really happy about that. And then we went to the fair today and I was able to just like walk around and I smelled all the fair food and I wasn't even like that. Like I was like, oh, it smells good, but it wasn't to the point of where I was like, I'm gonna cry because like I
Right.
can't have
Right.
good and I'm sad. It was kind of just like, well, I don't really like care that much about it anyway. So that was awesome. So this week has been really good.
Wow. Anna, like that, these are huge milestones. And you have had such a rocky road. Like when you started this, you were like determined and like your body was like, no, you're not going to do this, and you've been able to plow through it. And what a miracle. And even just seeing like you couldn't do it 100% the other weeks. And now
Mhm.
you can dive in and you're like already seeing the benefits. Running a mile and a half is so huge. If anybody watching this now, like arthritis with joint pain is such a real thing, and running is so hard on those joints. And so when you're able to cut that inflammation, and then you can start building muscle around so it's not so hard on those joints.
Yeah,
I
I
just
definitely feel it because in the past, I mean, I've even had a hard time going up the stairs some days. My joints hurt so bad. And it's
yeah.
like now I can run a mile and a half and like be fine. So yeah, it feels really good.
Anna, that is huge. I'm so proud of you. And to go to the fair and not be tempted beyond belief, and then
Hmm.
the fact that you can just walk around the fairplex like for that time, like without
Yeah,
having that pain, like
right.
that that's money right there. Like that is what food can do.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm really happy. I feel the all of the headaches and brain fog and all that stuff. Now I'm finally to the point where I'm like, this, has definitely been worth it.
Oh, I am so glad. Like this is so huge. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you for sticking out and having young kids, and all of that is like
Yeah,
complicated and you're doing it, and I'm just so proud. Boy, both of you like have so many roses this week. So many roses. Like day 2, Kathy, you're killing it. I'm
I'm
just
so thrilled. I
and
am
like
so thrilled.
and look what you have to look forward to. Like just all the benefits and everything that we're seeing, and everybody gets different benefits. It's like that's like so fun. So okay, let's talk a little bit about thorns. Kathy, I know that like yesterday was a little bit hard, but like do you have anything else that's like a real thorn with this process?
Um, yeah, I don't think so. I'm doing pretty good with everything.
Good.
Yeah, I took a lot of time in getting emotionally prepared for this and getting prepared, the household and stuff like that. So, yeah, there really isn't any other thorns. Oh, and my husband's totally joined me on this, so that's great. So, yeah, so he's eating the same thing that I am. He's putting sauces on some of the food and stuff
Yeah.
of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's totally,
Such a win.
yeah, he really is.
So, is he, like, does he have symptoms that he would like to see resolved, or he's just doing this really for you?
I would say he's doing it really for me. He just, he's like, yeah, this totally makes sense. And he goes, we're at a point, we need to cut all the sugar and the starches and the carbs. And he said, I'm all on board.
I love it. I'm curious to see what he like. Maybe he doesn't have any major symptoms that he's even noticing, but I bet you there's going to be some really cool side effects with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. Okay, Anna, let's hear it from you. Any thorns this past week?
Um, Not too bad. Just kind of nothing I couldn't handle, but I do have a thorn that's going to come up that I'm a little bit concerned about. So I think I told you that I lost my job because I was having health issues. So I'm starting a new job at the end of this month. Um, and I normally only work like 30 to 35 hours a week, but now I'm going to be working a full 40 hours a week, and it's going to be Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Mm.
And and I'm a little bit nervous about being able to like do eat healthy and stay away from the bad things when I'm going to have such a busy schedule because um I'm a single mom as well. So like I don't have a husband to like cook dinner or anything for me. So it's like I and I've always struggled with fatigue as well. And, I'm hoping like as I start to eat more vegetables, because I think that is a big part of it that I've been trying to do,
Good.
um, is hopefully going to help. But I'm just worried like I'm going to be working 40 hours a week and taking care of a 2-year-old by myself. And I'm just not. And I think that's kind of why I get into the bad patterns in the past, is because it is easier to just like go to Chick-fil-A for dinner. And I did a lot of energy drinks as well. And like, I know I can't go back to that because those are just so bad for you. But I'm like, how am I going to survive being a full-time working single mom and be able to spend time in the kitchen? Because the amount of time I spend in the kitchen now,
Yeah.
it's like I'm able to do that when I'm working
Right.
40 hours a week.
Right.
I don't know if
Okay. So you start that at the end of this month, right?
yeah.
Okay. So this is great. You are going to be like, this is perfect that you're even bringing this up because this is the very thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. So this is great because as you start introducing foods back into your life, right? It's not just your diet, it's like your life because it's a lifestyle. You're
Mhm.
going to start noticing that, oh, I can actually eat a lot more foods now. Okay. So maybe that Chick-fil-A salad, you bring your own dressing and then it's good. Right. And you're
Okay.
like, maybe at that point, and you just pick the one. I think that they have like the berries one, right? And then they have the grilled chicken. So that's good. Right. Like, so you're going to be able to get creative. And if that's like your go-to every single time is to get that Chick-fil-A salad, then that's perfect. But slowly you'll be able to introduce more and more foods that are going to be good for you. And so you have this prep time. This is actually perfect because you got 2-3 weeks right now to really get clear on like, okay, what would be my go-to lunches? What could be my go-to like dinners when I get home that I'm not like starving and just grabbing a bag of chips, right? Like you're going to get creative. And it'll also be a blessing because you'll be working. And so there'll be more of an income coming in. And like, then you can buy a little bit more convenient foods, right? Maybe you just buy a bag of carrots too and a little thing of almond butter if you can do almonds, right? Like, so it's like just really getting creative with what you can have. Does that make sense? So this week, I want you to be really
Yeah.
mindful. I want you to be really mindful of the things that you're already eating now and like, oh, I could actually package this and take it. Or maybe like you have little
Okay.
containers and you're like, oh, okay, this will be my salad container. And you can make your own salads. You don't have to buy it from Chick-fil-A, but you could, you can make your own salads, put your own dressings in a little container and put that away. You'll be saving tons of money if you did it yourself. You could get like,
Yeah.
okay, and then once we started, when we were on the complete detox, I would bake all my own chicken, right? I would cook it. I would like either in the slow cooker or instant pot or grill it or whatever. But when it got to a point where I actually introduced this, and this is like totally like, this is what I mean. Like this is adaptable for everybody in their lifestyle. I went to and I introduced rotisserie chicken from Costco. Now, on it claims it's like, oh, so good, no preservatives, blah, 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 blah. But they do put other things in it that aren't fully natural, right? And so We introduced that, no one had a problem, and then that was my survival. So on those days that like I needed to make a salad, right, and I needed chicken, I didn't have time to grill it or whatever, I would get a rotisserie chicken from Costco or Sam's Club, and then I would shred it up and put it in a baggie, and then I have that throughout the week. You could freeze that, you could do lots of things. So there,
Okay.
like, you're just going to be able to make life a little bit more doable. Because here, what's better? Like, you get a rotisserie chicken from Costco that isn't perfect, but it's still a better option than going and getting some fried chicken or whatever else you used to eat, or a sandwich, or, you know, with other breads, or I don't know. It's like good, better, best, right? And when you
Mm-hmm.
are working full time, single mom, like my heart, my life, everything goes out to you right here. Like, you are in survival mode. You are in survival mode, but it's also doable because, right, you're the hero. So it's like, this doesn't have to define you. Like, this doesn't mean like, oh, you're going back to work. Because let me tell you, now you're going back to work. You need to do this more than ever. If you don't want that fatigue, if you
Right.
don't want that crash, if you don't want your joints like messing you up and then you got to quit work again, then you better figure out how to make a salad and take it. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, like, this is actually the time that you get to rise up and figure out how to do it, and not poor me. This is like, I got this. Because I already know
Yeah.
that's your personality. You're like, I got this. Like, I can fight through it. Like, I could tell you're a fighter all the way through. Started the first week I met you. And so I'm like, oh yeah, this is just another thing that you're going to have to learn to adapt.
Okay.
And that's
What
it.
What do you think about microwave meals? Because that's something that before this I used to do a lot when I was busy. Some of them, like, they look healthy, or, you know, like the lean cuisine or whatever. I don't know if those ones are gluten free, but like, are those just bad for you? Yeah.
I would stay away.
Okay.
I would stay away.
Okay.
You could make a batch, like on a Sunday or a Saturday or something. You can make a batch of little burritos or something, and use siete tortillas, or you can use like gluten-free tortillas, and you can freeze those, like wrap them up, put them in, freeze them. And so then you have that. So then you have the same effect, but you're not eating, because like I said, if you start eating all that microwavable food or whatever those go to, which is convenient, you're going to go back to feeling crappy.
Right. Right.
If you did it one time,
Okay.
like, and you're like, that's the best I could do, I was in a pinch, that was all I could get, whatever, perfect. But if this happens to be your
Yeah.
regular, then it's not going to be perfect, right? You're going to have to go back and kind of detox again,
Okay.
which isn't a bad thing. I mean, we could read
Okay.
all the time.
Sounds good.
Yeah. How does
Yeah.
that make you feel, like, as I'm sharing all that with you?
Also,
Oh,
I wanted to tell you that I tried the broccoli, the broiler, and it was really good. And so that I'm really glad you mentioned that. So if you have any other vegetable tricks like that, because yeah, I don't like vegetables, but that did make it edible for me.
yes, you can
That's
squeeze
great.
a little lemon juice
You
on
can do the
that
same thing
too.
with asparagus or,
Yeah.
you know, cauliflower.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Is there a vegetable that's like gonna be like the best
Ooh, there is
for me?
so many really good
I mean, I
vegetables.
know variety, but like if I had
Yeah.
to just like my fatigue and everything, like is there one that like I should eat the most that has like lots of nutrition, or just
Yeah,
switch it up?
I feel like getting a variety is good. My go-tos happen to be like zucchini. I feel like that's, and I just fry it on a pan with some avocado oil, salt and pepper, and sometimes some Redmond real salt seasoning. But other than that, like, yeah, just getting a lot of really good vegetables in is perfect. If you like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, all squashes, any of those, you're gonna be doing really well. And maybe you just pick one vegetable a week and you're like, okay, this is the one I'm gonna stomach, or this is the one I'm gonna find really good recipes for, or I'm going to, you know, just get creative with it.
Okay, thanks.
Does that sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Good, good. But okay, so do you start introducing foods this coming week then?
Yes, on
Good.
Monday.
Good. So study that list out. Make sure that like you're feeling good about that. Some of the ingredients you're going to be like, I've never eaten this and I never plan on eating this or whatever. Then that's fine. You don't have to, you can skip that food. But what it does is sometimes we think like, oh, we can skip that food because I never eat it. I'm trying to think of an example offhand, but then little do you know that that ingredient is actually in like so say like you're introducing edamame, right? Like you're introducing soy. And you're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I never eat edamame. Like I've never ordered it. I'm never going to buy it. So I don't need to do that one. But you actually do. The reason why is because soy is in most foods, like packaged foods. Soy is like huge in it. And so if every time you eat some, like you're like, but I'm good with all of these ingredients, but you didn't test soy out, you didn't have edamame to see how your body responds to it, you wouldn't necessarily know that's the culprit. So there's
Right.
certain ingredients that it's like, oh, I'm fine with that, but then, or I'll never eat that. And I mean, unless it's like shrimp or like a shellfish or something, but then it's also just good to know if you do have a reaction that you really do need to stay away from it. So, what we would do is like, we don't really eat shrimp at our house. We should, but we just don't often. And so I just bought like the little baby shrimps frozen section when we introduced shrimps because I wanted to know if my kids were having any problems with shellfish while they're at home, while we were doing this. I'm like, let's just do it all. And they were totally fine. They didn't love them, but we squeezed lemon. We did all the things to make them a little bit better, but they weren't in love with it. And that's fine. But we still introduced it because we wanted to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So this week was actually quite big for us. I haven't even posted it in my stories yet because I feel like I've just had so much other stuff going on. But so Sadie was diagnosed unofficially at about 9 months old. She was following the same pattern with celiac disease. She was following the same patterns as Chanel. She was she was starting to be really skinny. She wasn't growing. Her belly started pot bellying. She was starting to be constipated, and it was like following similar paths as Chanel. So the doctors were like, we're not going to do an endoscopic biopsy on her. We're just going to just make her go gluten-free. And this is before I knew too much. Like, I mean, I know too much now. Before I knew as much as I do now. And so I pulled her off of gluten. And so she's been gluten-free this whole entire time. And it's quite interesting because when we did the healthy challenge, my main thing is I wanted her to be able to tolerate dairy. I wanted her body to be able to have dairy. She couldn't have dairy. And so I introduced dairy to her, and now she's fine with dairy. So that was like huge win with this healthy challenge, cutting inflammation, all of that. That's been awesome. But this week I did the challenge for her with gluten. And so it's the same principles. Okay. So it's the same principles that we've been doing, right? One piece of bread, of gluten bread, day one. And the next day she had a piece of bread in the morning and the night. And she's totally fine.
Oh my God, that's great.
So we are like, okay, this is huge because it's always been me with my two youngest. And now, well, it was actually me and my three girls because Aaliyah wanted to be gluten-free until till we did the healthy challenge. Then gluten didn't mess with her anymore. It's really fascinating. It's really fascinating. So now she eats gluten. And she's been eating gluten for a year. She's totally fine. So outside of the home, pretty much. So, but now I got little Sadie that I believe she's actually fine with gluten because she was never fully tested.
Right.
So now we're just I'm like, okay, we got a week before school starts, so I'm just going to keep watch on her closely as she continues to eat a little bit every day and make sure she's going to the bathroom, make sure all of those things. And then once she has it for a while, then I could get her tested again if I wanted to.
Right. Whereas if you got her tested, that wouldn't work now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. Sometimes we think like, oh, certain foods are so bad, but it's like, actually, there's nothing wrong with gluten. Gluten's not like terrible. There's cleaner sources of gluten, right? We all know that. Like, you could get junky gluten too. But you can get cleaner versions, and you can have sourdough, and you can do lots of good things with a healthy frame of mind, but also just to have a healthy relationship with food. So as you guys are going through this process, I want you to check in with yourself. How are you doing emotionally and mentally with food? Are you starting to like look at others and they're having a piece of cake and you're like, I can't believe they're eating like that. That is going to hurt their body, right? Like we don't need to shame, like food shame or look at others, but even more importantly, how we look at ourselves. Like Anna, if you're having a really, really hard day and it's work and you're like, there's no food, the only thing you can do is go to the grocery store and grab something to throw in the microwave. I would never want you to food shame yourself for that. Right?
Okay.
Like you would never be like, I'm so bad. Like this just threw all of my hard work away. Like, you know how we get in our heads and we like tell ourselves really negative things? We just say,
Yeah.
oh, that was actually not the best choice, but that's what I could do right then. I'm just going to prepare a little bit better this coming week. And then we
Yeah.
move on. We don't sit in that mentality of like food shaming or thinking of food is bad or, you know, whatever the case may be. We move on because tomorrow's another day. And there's like,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to eat a cajillion more times in your life. So it's like one bad meal or one whatever, like, I mean, sometimes we get gluten, right? And it's so terrible, but it's not going to last forever. And I don't ever ask to be gluten. It's just, it sometimes happens. And we like just
Mm-hmm.
keeping that healthy mindset because that's where like food eating disorders come in play when
Mm-hmm.
we're, and so as we're doing this process, really appreciating your body and the way it's responding and the way that like you feel like you guys both have had awesome roses this week where you're feeling better and it's worth it. And it's like, okay, we just need to remember how good it is, how good your body is. And when you fuel it with the right things, it even does better. And Anna, I think about you starting this new job. And if you can show up every day without that joint pain, I mean, you're going to be a joy to be around so much more, even for yourself, right? When I'm not
Yeah.
feeling, I'm like, I don't even want to be with me.
Yeah, definitely.
So in this process, just really, really like appreciate what good food does to you. Because as we do that, we're going to grow a healthier relationship with food. And then other stresses in our life actually will minimize as well. Because it's not just about the food. It's the food that actually like has so many other effects for the good. For the good. So, okay. Anything else that you guys want to talk about or ask about or food wise? Did you like any good recipes?
One thing are we allowed to use like black pepper?
Yes. Yeah.
Good, because I bought those individual from Costco. I went to Costco
Yeah.
and I don't know if do you have a Costco near you, Anna?
Oh,
Yes. Yes, I do.
Because that might help you for getting like, I got the big 16-ounce salad and then I got the organic chicken tenders and I came home and cooked up like a whole bunch of chicken tenders. And I was like, if we need a go-to and don't feel like cooking or whatever, because we have fallen into that bad habit of just like, oh, let's just have something, let's have a pizza. And so now if I just keep that in the refrigerator, last night I was like, I just can't cook. I don't feel good. I don't want, and we just had, the chicken tenders that were already cooked on Sunday. I cooked them Sunday on these salads. And I bought those avocado mash,
mm-hmm.
they're little cups.
Yes.
So I'm using that on my lettuce wrap, for before I put the turkey meat on it and stuff like that. So
Good.
I've
That's a
been
good idea.
pepper on it, so I wanted to be sure pepper was okay.
Yes. Yes, that is good. Now, you mentioned turkey lunch. Are you doing turkey lunch meat or what are you doing with that?
Applegate
Good.
turkey lunch meat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking, watching, reading labels very
Good.
close.
Good. I know that there's just sneaky things that I'm like, oh, we'll just talk about it because, you know, it's like, well, it's good to know, right? There's so many fillers and things, and you're just like, sheesh, can you just give me the real food?
It's
Yeah.
This morning, I really like hash browns. So this morning my sister actually kind of put it in my head. I shredded a sweet potato and then I made sweet potato hash browns.
awesome.
Yay!
And it
What
took
a treat.
forever, but it was really, yeah, it's not something to do if you're like need something quick, but it was really good.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And then I've been doing
Oh, you cut out. And then you've been doing what?
oh, turkey bacon.
Good. Good.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you if gum is bad. Like I know we're not supposed to have it during the food challenge, but I was reading the ingredients on gum and I was like, I don't know what any of this is. Is that bad to reintroduce? Should I just stay away from it in general?
You could reintroduce it, but I would do what's the gum that's like super healthy? I don't chew gum. So um oh shoot, what's the healthy gum?
I do like oh,
I have no idea.
What did you just say, Anna?
I do like sugar, like no sugar gum, like no sugar added, like
Okay.
Trident.
Okay, pure gum. Have you heard of pure gum? Oh,
Mm-mm.
oh, it's not going to show my phone because I'm like, I have a fun back screen. Isn't that cute? So it's PUR, per gum.
Oh, oh yes, I have actually. Yeah, I have had
So that's a
that.
cleaner gum. So if you're going to do a gum, I would do a cleaner one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Per seems to be the good one. Um, Thrive also has one, but yeah. So I would just make just like whatever you're wanting, you just get the cleanest version of that thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that's awesome. Yay. Okay, well, it's gonna be a good week. Oh, I wanted to tell you too, because you were talking about sweet potatoes. I think I mentioned before, I get a sweet potato, like it's like this, right? I turn it this way and I make slices and I
Mm-hmm.
put it in the toaster 3 or 4 times because it takes longer, right? Because it's like sweet potato is so dense, you know. But then I would eat it like toast. And it was so yummy. And I put all the different types of things. Like sometimes it was avocado, sometimes it was turkey bacon and avocado. Sometimes it's, you know, it's like, oh, you can get really creative. Sometimes it was almond butter and cinnamon. Sometimes it was just coconut oil. That was yum. You know, so it's like, and salt and pepper, like super delicious. And just like, sometimes you're just like, I just want to like pick something up and eat it, not like mashed or anything. So that's also fun if you're needing new sweet potato ideas. I think the toast is a
Yeah.
fun one.
Yeah, I'll try that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I want you to think about a couple new fun recipes this week that you could make. And Anna, for sure, like think about things that you could make that you could take with you
Okay.
to work. So that way, kind of like what Kathy did. Kathy's like a great example of like, she really prepped before she started this. So now that she's in it, it's not this huge like culture shock or like whatever shock. It's more
Yeah.
just like, oh, this is the next stage. And so now you have that time to really prep for you to go to work. So when you go to work, you're not stressed about food because holy cow, we have enough things to stress about. Like, let's take food off the table. So
Yeah.
just really prepping from now until then and finding good recipes or good things that you're like, oh, this would be good. Like if it didn't, I don't have to heat it up or I don't need a fridge or whatever your like working conditions is going to be to really get dialed in.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, next week when we come, it'll be our last week that we do these group ones. It will be super sad, but I want you guys to come with a fun recipe and I will too. We'll just add more recipes and watch on my stories on Instagram. I'm going to check. I don't know if I'm going to do it this coming week but in the next couple weeks, I'm going to do like a day in a life of doing the healthy challenge. of like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and just kind of showing everyone like what it looks like. Cause that's like the hardest thing is like, but what does that look like? But what do I do? So I want to just show that to people. And so, yeah, so I'm going to be looking up recipes and getting some fun new ones too, so that I can kind of showcase that when I'm going live with that. So yes.
Awesome.
Okay, well, I want you guys to have a fabulous week. Reach out for anything, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of your roses this week. This was a really big week, so thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Okay, good
you.
night.